Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome to the VR Gamescast. Are we live? Let us know. I thought we were live, but again, I said on Twitter, doing a live stream like this seems way harder and more technically challenging than it does in VR. But here we are.
Chat, someone just let us know.
Please just let us know.
we just spoke for a good 5 minutes before we were like, hang on a minute, we're not live.
We did.
Anyway, I'm Jamie.
What's
Zeena.
up? Oh, you're going to take over, are you, now that you're not in VR?
I don't think we're live still.
I think we are. I'm pretty sure we are.
Onikase, are we live? Oh, we're live. Giant Penguin says we're live.
Thank you so much, Giant Penguin. All
I
right.
know about the computers and the technicalities.
Here we go. Here we go. Welcome, everyone. I'm Zeena. I'm going to be your host, and with me, as always, is Jamie Feltham. Yes, we are live. Yes, we are not virtual beings. We are literal beings. We're here. This is just a little bit of a change up, just because we've had a couple of technical difficulties. We just wanted to make this as kind of plan B. Just to see how it goes, and
give it a shot.
Yeah, yeah. We got
No, Axel, we are not
given flesh.
We are not just AI. We are real people. Then again, if you listen to the audio, this doesn't make a difference to you. You're like, what are they all talking about? Apart from the fact that probably the conversation flows a little more naturally because we can
literally see each other now.
Yeah, not just like being like, oh, hang on a minute, my hands are really small. What's going on? My hands are my normal size now, which is still quite small, but normal size for me.
So anyway, we are not alone. Shout out to Dream is great. Yeah, I'm gonna get a lot of weird comments now. Oh, I'm really loud. Sorry.
Volume.
Predosiolella. You said that you've already. How do you say this?
Predoso.
Thank you very much. Opsar, Axel Gundam, Onikase, Giant Penguin, Paradise DK, Vinci, Ben Ferguson, all of you guys, Ross, so on. What's up? Thank you so much for joining us. This week is a little bit light, I'm going to say.
I don't think so. Well, I guess in terms of news, but
yeah.
I reckon we've got an hour in us. I reckon we've got a good 60 minutes in us.
Yeah, perhaps.
Maybe
perhaps. Just a quick shout out to our members. You support us week in, week out. I'm going to list you guys off now. The Showmaker 30, Tazzy, Handy Pernama, Daniel Barween, Jerome Houston, Andrew King, Skiva, Sexy Bicycle, Devin Miller, Matthew May, Rick Ted, Rubicon Nunes, ×2. He subscribed to us twice. He's got 2 different accounts. That's mental. Double thank you. 360 Pickleball, Smash Reality, Adam Hartzell, John Westrat, and Dominic Fruckman. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. If you guys don't really want to support us month in, month out, and just want to do a little something, chuck us a super chat, super sticker. We love it.
Predorso says it's seal for quicker callouts. So just do that.
Predorso.
Yes, just say seal.
Seal. Oh.
Seal. Just when you want to...
My name's Seal.
Point to
just
them.
call me Seal. Cool.
It's interesting. I was just saying to Zeena, like, we love doing it in the studio, but man, I cannot wait for Project Cambria just so that I can put it on and you can see my eye movements. You can see me being a lot more expressive in VR. And I think that's going to add a whole new dimension to what we do with the virtual side of the podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I think I started getting a few blemishes on my cheeks just from the sweatiness. It's either that or face masks.
Some studio lights being blaring onto us from here. And we sound good? We're loud enough? I'm sure we are.
Yeah,
people are responding to what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm too small. So
yeah.
Too quiet, not too small. Anyway.
Let's move on to the first story, which is about Blaston. They're going to be doubling their price pretty much. Ahead of its next big update, the multiplayer shooter is going to go from $9.99 up to $19.99. And this is because the game has seen so many updates. This, of course, joins the list of Pistol Whip and Space Pirate Trainer, who have also upped their price since launch. It's not early access. I remember someone saying, is this because it's early access? No, it's because they've just produced so much more for the game. Is this justified?
Well, I mean, it's not technically early access, but you know, I spoke to Resolution Games CEO Tommy Palm earlier this week, and he was saying that, you know, they did launch the game with as like little content as possible in a way of with the aim of over the course of the next year, like releasing a whole bunch of other updates, and so it's kind of, I guess, early access in everything but name in a way.
That's a little bit sneaky. I don't wanna, you know, be negative or anything about it.
It was only $10. It still is only $10 if you get it today. It's not till
when is the cutoff day?
It's the 17th. So you still have basically the entire weekend to go pick it up if you're interested in it at all. And they have been very good and very round the clock at providing those updates. I think it had something like 4 or 5 updates last year, like more than Demio, which I'm assuming probably was a big success for them, more than Cookout, more than, you know, Acorn ever saw or anything like that. So I think it's justified. They also have a 2022 roadmap. 2020 roadmap coming up, which is going to involve not like they're kind of overhauling the main system so that there's like an attachment system to the weapons now. So the idea being that you can put the kind of attachments that you want and modifiers that you want onto a weapon, so that you kind of get a bit more personalization in your lineup and you kind of find out what works to your sort of play style. And that's in April. And then there's going to be a summer update too.
Okay.
So there's it's quite a lot, and $20 still isn't loads and loads and loads. Vinci thinks it's too much, which
a couple of you guys have said didn't buy it at $9.99. Onikazi jumped and went for the $9.99. He called it the warning shot.
Yeah, well, that's what you said. That's what you can't announce your game's going up in price and do it there and then, can you? You have to have like this grace period is the way I think of it. I think the thing is that I really like Blaston. We've never actually reviewed it because I think it's just not something I've spent loads and loads of time with, but I love the idea of Blaston. And I think I could get behind the idea of playing it more now that there's the pass-through thing in there. Because
that was
well, it's really cool.
This is really cool. We saw it in another game, a game that we're going to be talking about later, Garden of the Sea, right?
Pass-through. When you see the world around you.
No, sorry. I thought you meant the outline of the people walking near you.
No, that's just the quest thing, the Space Sense, which is also very, very cool. But no, I'm talking about when you actually properly see.
Of course, you can actually see, yes.
And I think that's actually quite an important thing to the game, because wherever I played Blaston before, no matter, like, this is our second flat that I played it in, but the first one was even smaller, but even in this one, which is bigger, I was always really, really worried, even if I'd assured myself that my feet were planted on the ground and it was open air around me, I was always worried about smashing my head on something.
Yeah.
More than any other VR game. So I think the pass-through thing for me was a big element of saying, I could actually buy and play that quite a lot now. And I spoke to, like I said, I spoke to Tommy Palm from Resolution earlier this week, and we were talking about how, like, some of those features are kind of like very cool early tests for Cambria. Like, I think Blaston with color pass-through, so it's essentially an AR game, would be really, really, really incredible, and definitely, again, worth that $20 price tag when you know if you're about to throw your head into a table or something like that.
I think people only go, $19.99 just because they're thinking of the base game, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they've shouted about their updates enough. Perhaps.
Well, maybe. I mean, Demio's definitely been, I think, a bigger deal for them, but I think Demio's way easier to get. And it's quite interesting. They also have Ultimates coming up, which in the press release they kind of pointed to Blaston and Ultimates being this like genre of sports you kind of invent for VR. So I think they're very keen on the idea of coming up with almost like a gallery of these types of games, and then at some point, when buzzword hype.
No, those it.
When the metaverse
is
here, if you have like a kind of like sports facility, like a leisure center, You probably don't say leisure centre in the US, do you? Just sports facility
facility.
Will do. Where you like you go down a corridor and one room is Blaston and one room is Ultimex and everything like that. That's a pretty compelling thing to start building out now. The resolution games building or whatever, right? So I think there's a potential long life left in it, even though it's already a year and 3 or 4 months old.
Yeah, just about.
But if you haven't watched that interview with Tommy, we actually put it out as a video. It's worth going to watch. I also asked him about PSVR 2.
Ooh.
He said that they're very happy to see it. Didn't officially confirm any games, but said it's absolutely what they hope to do is support it with some of their titles. So hopefully that means Blaston will come over. I really hope that means Demio will come over. I think there's a lot of potential for Demio to have some sort of local co-op feature, maybe, if you had it on PSVR 2, like with social screen, seeing as they're doing a flat screen. Yeah, that
would be amazing.
Yeah, seeing as they're doing a flat screen version for Steam anyway, how cool would it be if you could do 2-player with just one console and one headset? That'd be great. But yeah, nothing confirmed. Just I think it's the case for all VR developers right now, especially the ones that kind of left PSVR in the dust a while ago, like Resolution did. I think it's pretty much the mindset everyone's got, right?
Tommy, if you're watching, do that on PSVR 2.
Yeah, please don't charge. Please don't charge separately for the flat screen version of Demio.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to get into PSVR 2 a little bit later on. We're going to talk about our hopes and our dreams for PSVR 2. But for next, we're going to talk about new VR games revealed. I'm just going to kind of lightly dust over Avicii Invector, which we kind of announced last week.
Yeah, the embargo lifted last week, but I think we only kind of touched on it, and I think it's coming out towards the end of January on Quest, so I do think it's worth taking note of. And it's essentially a VR music game that's not like in the style of Beat Saber, it's not in the style of Unplugged. It is a rhythm thing where you're using the buttons on the Quest controllers as you kind of like steer a ship through like very neon drenched levels, and it's interesting. It's a port of a flat screen game, and I don't know if it's gonna make the most amazing use of VR. Like I said, it's using buttons so that when you pass like a certain button input is represented as like a golden like line, so if you press it, you have to press the trigger button, for example. And I understand that worked very, very well on flat screens, but like, why in VR isn't it like, okay, if you're passing over this line, hit that drum,
hit it, yeah,
exactly, or you're just there or something. And I felt like I've played it for about an hour maybe, and I feel like it's a bit of a shame they didn't innovate a bit more on that front. I'm going to write 2 eyes
at the end.
One at the start, 2 at the end.
Avicii Invector, so it's after the late DJ Avicii. Did I say DJ? DJ Avicii.
Swedish DJ. So yeah, all the I don't want to say all the profit, but definitely some of the revenue for the game goes towards a suicide like kind of awareness charity. So there's it is a game about a good cause as well at the same time. So that's out towards the end of the month, and that's going to be worth checking out, I reckon.
Next up, look, we got a cool little TV thing going on. I didn't even realize you were going to do that. Cool. The next game is Nock. Let us know if the sound leveling is right.
This is actually the first time I'm watching this.
So Nock, as you can see on the screen, or for those of you just listening to us, it's pretty much Rocket League, but with arrows, no cars, and you're just your body.
You're just your body?
You're just your body, there's no car.
What do you mean? All right, you mean Rocket
crazy.
League on foot?
Yes,
Rocket League, you know what Rocket League, but you're just your body is, right?
Yes.
Football or soccer,
I suppose. Yeah. No, but you're literally flying around and you're doing everything. So this is actually from Normal, who are the developers of Half and Half.
Sorry, I keep trying.
Yeah, shut up, man. Shut up.
Stick to the script.
So you can kind of get that if you know what Half and Half is. It's a kind of social app where you speak to each other, but it comes out as like random words or random noises. Very cool. But the character bodies are very similar to that game.
Just laughing at Garva saying, "Oh my god, you're real."
Yeah, we are real.
We're getting a lot of that this podcast, aren't we? This is like that time we met Heaney. Heaney came here and he was here in the flesh, and we were like, "Oh my god, Heaney's a real person." Now the internet knows we're real.
Robin Hood League, exactly. I think this looks really cool. It's going to be coming to Oculus Quest, which makes sense. That kind of looks like.
It's a very questy thing. My immediate takeaway though is going back to Ultimex, which very much projected itself as Rocket League with mechs, and it was like a rocket fist you fired off and hit the ball with. So it's going to be some interesting competition between those two for sure. I love the aesthetic of this. I think it looks
it's really cool.
Really, really cool, and it's very much in the same ilk as Half and Half, which I haven't actually played myself, but had that kind of oddball appeal to it as well.
It's just the big fat bodies, that kind of vibe.
The wobblers.
The wobblers. You're just a big fat wobbler, and you're going around shooting people. Well, shooting things. But it looks like you're forming like cubes as well as like strategy.
Yeah, there's got to be some.
It's really cool.
Extra twisty bits to it. We don't know a release date for this, do we? I would assume it's
soon.
Not too far out. Yeah. Knowing the way Quest releases go, they say soon, and that means first week of February or something. But it could be later than that.
I mean, we'll be getting onto that very, very shortly. Where quite a few games we had no idea would be coming. Shall we just get onto those games?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, the only other thing. Oh no, we've got that written down. Move on.
So in terms of games that are like, oh, you're just going to appear now. Zenith. Zenith is coming on January 27th. That was announced when?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
A random press release. I was so ready for it to be, like have this big hullabaloo made about it because of the
there we are.
the second beta's this weekend, right?
Yes.
So I was expecting that to come and go before we get any sort of indication of when it's coming out. I actually also thought the second beta, it would be a longer gap between the second beta and actual release, because I just think they probably need more time to take on board whatever they gather. But yeah, all platforms on January 27th is the plan, which is the usual Oculus Quest store drop day, so it's the same day as Avicii Invector. And I think I think Lost Recipes is out the same day as well.
Yes.
Which, sorry, I spoiled it. Yeah, I'm surprised. There's almost an element of me that wrote that preview of this a couple of weeks ago now, and was very, very confident in its chances. And now, I guess I'm sure Ramen VR has this more than anyone, but now we're getting close to the actual thing. I'm getting the launch quibbles again, and is it gonna live up to the potential that I definitely saw when I played it over the course of the beta? Are we gonna have 100 hours on offer when it launches on the 27th, or is it more like there's maybe like 10 to 20 hours in there, and we have to wait until like later in the year when they do expansion 1 or whatever? They haven't announced their roadmap, but I'm assuming that's kind of the plan with it.
So I agree with Goza-san that the trailer is very well done. I think the trailer's lovely.
Well, the trailer's interesting though, because it's made up of, there's some new footage in it, but then there's also some footage from the showcase trailer. Mm-hmm. There's also some footage from like the original PlayStation VR trailer, like early last year. So it's an amalgamation of different things.
Yeah.
And how many new trailers can you make in the space of a month or two? At the end of the day, that's asking a lot of people.
Absolutely. But going back to your point of, is it going to have 100 hours, whatever, it's very much obviously going to be a very alive game, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whether or not you're going to get everything that you want right at the beginning, I think it's going to grow into something even more amazing than what it already is.
Yeah, and
I have high hopes.
Onycase as well points to Elysia, which is another kind of promising MMO that, again, if Zenith can pull it off, maybe they can too. But to his point, we haven't heard anything about in quite a while. I don't have my finger on the pulse of the MMO scene of VR, but I think it's still in development. And yeah, if Zenith gets in on the ground floor, and this is a good release that everyone likes come the end of the month, it's going to have such a massive 2022, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
People are really going to want to jump in and commit to it.
Yeah.
And again, have asked them about PSVR 2, and they said it's interesting, but we're focused on current gen platforms for now. But it's like, yeah, okay, you've got a dev kit somewhere, haven't you? But I'm just again speculating. I do not know if they have a dev kit.
Oh, sorry, guys.
What?
I will
What have you done?
make it quieter.
Oh.
So you mentioned Lost Recipes. Let's just jump on over to Lost Recipes there. Let's turn that down a bit as well. Yeah, so this was just announced at the Winter UploadVR showcase, and we were like, oh, this looks so cool. I can't wait to see, like, you know, what more we can see from it. And then it's going to come out on the 27th of January, so that's what, less than...
Yeah, I really expected this to be towards the 27th of January. I really expected this to be
27th of January.
The end of the year kind of thing for them. But then, you know, they also announced Among Us VR straight after that, and that clearly is going to have a lot of focus for them going forward.
Just 1 second. The Triangulator, thank you so much. You just gave us the equivalent of the new price of Blaston. Thank you so much. You just bought us a
Blaston.
You just bought us Blaston.
Getting on the Oculus app now.
The Triangulator says, have to get back to work. Arg. Zoom meetings. Keep up the amazing work. Love your content. Cheers. Thank you. Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate that.
If you want, put us on the Zoom meeting. And you'll look really, really professional.
Synergy. So you were saying Among Us.
Yeah, they've got Among Us coming out. That's clearly their next big title. I see this as something they probably have pretty modest... Shell Games, the developer, probably have pretty modest expectations for, because at the end of the day, it is a educational VR game. And they've tried some of that on Steam before, and it hasn't made, you know, expectedly, it hasn't made much of a fuss. I'm going to be really interested to see if this finds some sort of level of audience, especially because it's launching with, I think it's Mayan, Greek, and I think Chinese recipes. And so hopefully maybe they've got plans for other types of cultures going forward as well. I think they've also released the...
Medieval China's there, yep.
They've also released the recipe book, right? And that's got a bunch of, like, everything that you can cook in the game in it already. So we already know what you can make.
Yeah.
And I hope to see that expanded.
Absolutely. Where was it? Artful says, Lost Recipe seems like an odd title, and from those behind I Expect You to Die, I thought. Yes, that is right.
Yeah. It's very cool, very wholesome, very Shell pushing at the boundaries of...
But very different from, obviously, I Expect You to Die.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Obviously, that's like an escape room puzzle game, and this is kind of different. But you know, maybe the focus on interaction is still there. You know, the doing different things with different items. You can kind of see how they'd start at I Expect You to Die and end up here, right?
Yeah, for sure. The other thing is, I have not seen anyone, either in the showcase or any other time that we've mentioned this, say anything bad about this, which...
That's true.
It's great.
You get a lot of goodwill. Yeah, you get a lot of goodwill with this kind of stuff, don't you? And as you should. This is totally a really important direction for where VR is going. It's just you're going to end up seeing this kind of stuff more in press releases and headlines about how schools have bought 20 Quest headsets to do Lost Recipes during a design and tech cooking class.
Yeah, exactly.
More than you are going to see people that own Quest headsets buying it themselves, right?
And Black Market Honey, cute name, says, nah, I would rather cook for real. This is the amazing thing. They've literally, like Jamie said just moments ago, they've actually got the recipes so you can actually make what they've got in the game. So I think that's a very, very cool, real life add-on to the game.
And obviously there's the whole thing of, but you can't eat it. But it's like, well, yeah, but you could practice making it before you make it, right? Which is cool.
The people talk to you while it's happening, and they're like, in the trailer it was something like, oh, we make this within honor the people who have died within the past month.
Yeah.
And things like that. It's just learning the additional. It's almost like an interactive museum sort of thing.
Yeah. No, it is. That's a great way to put it. But yeah, we'll just see. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on that one for sure.
Speaking of getting your hands on stuff, Hitman.
Like people's necks?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, Hitman just announced today. It's coming out on the 20th of January, so a week before Zenith and Lost Recipes and Avicii. This is the PC VR.
This is the
version.
one.
This is the one.
I am so hyped to get into this again and play this. And try it with the Vario Aero, hopefully. I think it's like I really enjoy. I think it says a lot about how good the game is and how much attention IO paid to the PSVR version, that I still thought that was an enjoyable experience, even though you had the DualShock 4 and you were kind of, you know, to do a fiber wire thing, you were going like you weren't. Yeah. That was quite immersive, wasn't it? Even though it was just your hands were bound to this controller, it's going to make all the difference in the world to have two hands and really get into those experiences again. Not to mention that, you know, hopefully this version of the game doesn't have to make the kind of performance cutbacks that they had to go with this time last year. Obviously, like, we did a comparison video where, like, crowds were massively reduced in the PSVR version, very understandably so. Like, it's incredible that they get to run it in that headset whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I guess the other thing to say about it is it's just hopefully going to be, I know I keep hitting this point this week, but just hopefully going to be a good indication of what it might look like if and when it comes to PS5.
Yeah, it's almost kind of hinting towards that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like, it very much seems like a precursor to that. It's also coming as Steam, so you don't have to jump through loopholes going to the Epic Store first, then getting Steam VR up and running, which I know isn't too confusing, but at the same time it feels weird to go to the Epic Store.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, when they're bringing the fight to Steam in such a strong way, and then you have to rely on Steam VR to run Hitman VR. So if you haven't already bought it on the Epic Store, you'll be able to get it on Steam as well. And I don't know if it's like listed yet. They also announced the trilogy, which is great because Hitman 1 and 2 support VR as well, so you can just straight up buy a package that will get you access to 3 games worth of content, which is incredible.
Yeah.
But also, hopefully, I need to look and see if it's listed on Steam yet, because that would give us an idea of officially supported headsets. I know in the video they've showed Rift S and they've showed Index. I haven't seen like a Reverb G2 or anything just like that yet. But
absolutely. Seal says, one from cooking to murder. That's a sharp turn. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.
You don't know what happens in Lost Recipes. There might be murder in Lost Recipes.
So I don't know how to kind of segue in a good way. Next up,
I just did.
Thank you. Jamie's going to be talking about his review of Garden of the Sea, which you gave a good.
I gave it good because I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is basically, I think, pretty much the only. Oh, well, there's a final Space VR game out this month as well to talk about, but or this week even, but we haven't played it yet, so can't talk about that. But Garden of the Sea is basically the new game from Neat Corporation, who of course did Budget Cuts 1 and 2. Has been in early access on PC since like summer of 2019, which is when we first announced it during our first ever UploadVR showcase, which was really cool. And it went straight into early access then. And I played it back then. I really enjoyed what was there. It's basically a gardening simulator. You go and sprinkle seeds on the ground, water it, get your different petals and everything, and then you can make more seeds from that. And then also petals and flower heads and whatnot are used as like kind of a currency and kind of crafting items. So there is a shop where you can go and trade for like cosmetic items, but there's also like you can upgrade your house by getting a certain combination of flowers, for example. So there's this kind of nice, almost Township Tale light aspect to it. It's and it is light is the word for Garden of the Sea, in, you know, for better and worse. It's definitely this lovely breezy experience where you just want to sit back, maybe do some fishing, wait for some plants to grow, like interact with the different animals, find different things to feed them, which is really nice, solid gameplay. there's also an adventure side to it where you travel to 3 different islands other than your starting island. And there's kind of like a very Wind Waker inspired story / series of events behind that. You just saw on the trailer, like you kind of meet these deities that you can free. And I like that stuff's there. I like that there's this kind of like interesting progressive element to the game of finding out what kind of flowers you're going to need to unlock new areas and unlock new items. And I think there's a lot of intrigue to that. It's just the kind of age-old problem of there's not enough of it there. So there's this, as we're seeing in the trailer right now, there's this really great bit in the story where you go to one of the islands and you unlock a power to teleport between different crystals, and you can use music to kind of charge up the crystals and unlock them. And that's really cool, really, really fun. Great mechanic. And that lasts about half an hour. Then you move on to the second island and realize that's just about finding 3 different plants and planting them, and that lasts about 20 minutes. And then the last island is just a very tiny maze, which took me literally less than 5 minutes to get through. And that kind of underwhelmed me, to be honest. Like, I wanted more of the adventuring element because I think they were really onto something. And I completely understand that it's probably the reality that for a studio the size of Neat, you probably can't invest too much more resource into the game than you already have. You know, it's been in development for nearly 3 years now, and there's, you know, a lot to do there. But it just still stands to reason that you can probably see through the actual story content in 2 hours. And then when you instead zoom out and frame it as that kind of Animal Crossing, Harvest Moon gardening thing, that element of the game for me is much nicer, much stronger, but still suffers from the same thing of just there's not that much to it. There's this starting island that you're on, which you can walk from one side to the other in like 30 seconds, and there's like 3 or 4 different structures to either build or upgrade, but getting them to the top of where they need to be, again, is only going to take a few hours. And then on another island, there is another type of animal, which again, you can build one type of structure and interact with them as well. But I just kind of wanted I wanted a bigger world so that I could put more of my own footprint into it. Like, I could have a bigger island designed the way I wanted it to be designed. Because much in the way that, you know, a Township Tale really is the same sort of game, but kind of stretched out so that you could literally spend hundreds and hundreds of hours in Township Tale and do that with friends in a much more, for me, much more complex and engaging way with real depth to its systems. This feels like the very starting tippy toes of something that should evolve into a massive open world that you could spend however, like, you know, the right amount of time for you could just spend in it very, very easily. But I don't think the game world is big enough. I don't think there's enough variety and structure in there to really justify spending it, like, anything north of 5 hours in it, basically. Which is a shame because, like I said, I do like the game. I enjoy the different mechanics. I think it's lovely to look at. I think there's a really, really great reactive soundtrack in there that, like, sets this really, really lovely tone. It's just the age-old VR thing of stack that next to Harvest Moon, stack that next to Stardew Valley, stack that next to anything else that's inspired Animal Crossing, or even then, yeah, like I said, there's like elements of Zelda in there, there's elements of Pokemon in there. All of that stuff, it just like more than doubles what's in here. So it's hard to really, justify it on that front.
And that's what you think of Garden of the Sea?
Yeah.
Sorry, I turned down the video volume because I'm doing a sneaky thing of we're just going to recycle that as a video review. So I just didn't want the music in the background. Daniel, hello, welcome.
Hello, Daniel.
Thank you so much for your £2. These new Metatars have a lot of details. Hi guys, hi.
We got
upgraded.
First access to Project Cambria 6.
Yep.
Which you won't try until 2050, but you know.
Whatever. Is it right in saying that you like more savory games and this is far too sweet for you?
I started off my review by saying, like, you know, I don't like games that are wholesome for the sake of being wholesome. I don't think this is that type of game. I think there's a reason for its sunshine and rainbows, and I said you have to put the work in to get the sunshine and rainbows, because I just like you want to make the place your own, and if it's gonna be that lovely wholesome thing, you have to like plan and figure out and do the work, which is great. So even though it's not necessarily my type of game straight away, it's definitely one of the more wholesome games that I appreciate more than many other happy smiley games.
Lovely. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
Let's move on over to our topic of today, which is our hopes and dreams of PSVR 2. I think it would be good to open this up on games that have been confirmed, rumored, and cross-gen games that will be coming to it, just to kind of give us an idea of what the headset kind of looks like right now. Yeah. So confirmed right now is Horizon Call of the Wild, which we spoke about last week. It is a whole new VR world for Horizon. Runner, which is kind of like an, I don't know, Akira-inspired motorbike runner.
Yeah, it's definitely Akira-inspired is the right way to look at it. If you haven't seen a trailer for Runner, you should go check it out, because the anime cutscenes are really, really good.
And I didn't line it up here, sorry guys. Also, apparently Lo-Fi is confirmed.
Yeah, Blair from Lo-Fi has been saying for the longest time that it's going to be on PS5 and it's going to be on PSVR 2. And Lo-Fi might not be out yet, but I have no reason to doubt that when it's a thing, it'll be a PSVR 2 thing.
And Samurai Slaughterhouse. Yeah,
who again, the developer is someone that's been very forward with saying that, that all the contracts are signed. It's time to get on and make a PSVR 2 game, so that's cool.
So they are the only confirmed new titles for the headset. Rumored, however, this is a bit more of a saucy list. It's saucy.
You wouldn't believe the games on here. How about it?
Resident Evil 8.
Oh, I'm just shaking the camera. I'm so sorry. This and the next game are two that we talk about week in, week out, right? Because
Gran Turismo 7 is the next game.
It just makes too much sense for both of these. With Resident Evil 7 having had VR support, Resident Evil 8 turning to the same perspective, with the rumors that correctly revealed the game's setting before it was officially announced, also saying that PSVR development was in progress in one form or another. That just makes too much sense. And then again, with Gran Turismo Sport already having VR support, and the creator Kazunori Yamaguchi, I believe I'm saying his name right, also saying like one of the biggest jumps from going from Sport to a PS5 Gran Turismo would be better VR support. Just makes too much sense as well. And also, it's just one of the all-time great racing games, and just absolutely makes sense for PSVR. So those two, they're rumored and they're definitely not confirmed, but I would expect those almost to be like the first two games announced whenever they decide to do like their big show-off event, right?
So here is the meter of likelihood. You're saying that those two, Gran Turismo 7 and Resident Evil 8, are pretty much up there.
Yeah. This is the meter here.
This is the top to bottom.
Right.
It's right at the top. No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. These are the ones I think are very much happening. I think those are very much happening.
Okay. Cool. Next up is Farpoint 2. Where in the meter is it?
It's a hard one to say. So the reason, if you go and check our PSVR 2 games list, I've put rumored, confirmed, cross-gen games. And I think the reason I put Farpoint down is because I spoke to Impulse Gear at one point last year, and they said, well, we love Farpoint. We don't have anything to announce today, but there's definitely more to do with that universe. And I took that in that very sort of knowing way of, there's a very good chance of Farpoint 2 at some point. And, that was such a popular game for PSVR 2, did such an incredible job of really rooting you in the experience of that aim controller. And I think that's probably the biggest thing about the idea of there potentially being a Farpoint 2 is are they going to do something along the aim controller side again? Because it was such a popular peripheral, or at least, like a celebrated peripheral. I don't know how well it's sold in context of PSVR, but people loved it so much. And Farpoint really was all about that, And it would seem a shame to get Farpoint 2 and then go back to what we do in most PCVR games, which is to imitate the holding of a controller. Are you gonna create a real meter for me? Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Well, I'll just keep talking while you're doing that. And to the point of Farpoint 2 as well, I also hope we see Lastonauts try and live again on PSVR 2, because I'm a very big fan of Lastonauts. I think it's a really good, fun, engaging game. This is a really interesting list. All right.
So here, I'm gonna write it down.
So you just can't do this in VR, can you?
No.
For audio listeners right now, Zeena has written 100%, 50%, and nether on a piece of paper, and we're ranking where these things are going to happen.
So between 100 and 50%, we've got Resi 8 and Gran Turismo 7. Where's Farpoint 2?
I'm going to say I'm going to say 50%. I'm going to say 50.
I'm going to put it right on the line. Farpoint 2.
Yep.
Next up, Half-Life Alex.
I'm going to say 75%. How do you feel about 75%?
Fantastic.
I feel like everyone, all
Alex.
forces involved are pro Half-Life Alex being on PSVR 2. It's just about, have the people made the conversations, but how could you not? Because I don't think Sony could get a bigger win in the entire generation than saying they've got a Half-Life game as a console exclusive. Especially after Alex came out and is such a demanding game on PCs. And, requires that complex PC architecture and the kind of sprawling whatever that is PC VR headsets. To get it down to the simplified way of buy a console, buy a headset, there it is. It's such a win for that headset. Way bigger than anything else they could... forgive me. Way bigger than anything else they could do, I reckon, personally.
So we haven't got anything else on the rumored list. These are the rumors, and they are all above 50%. Do you just want to go ahead and keep talking about it?
I'm going to start firing off some rumors for you then.
Oh,
Blood and Truth 2.
Yeah.
You think? Well, so far, the Sony London, the developers of Blood and Truth, have been advertising for a new multiplayer PS5 title that makes no mention of VR or Blood and Truth whatsoever. So my expectation is that they are not working on it right now, and it's like a free floor building. I've been there. There's a floor somewhere that's in pre-production, but I don't think it's.
What's the likelihood of it then, according to this?
Right now, I'm going to put it at like here, just under 50%.
40? 45?
45. Why are people saying I'm optimistic? Do people not believe that Alex is not gonna come to PlayStation? I think that's it just has to happen, doesn't it?
I'm going to throw one out there.
That's interesting. Opsar said that Valve releasing Alex on PS5 would mean they're abandoning the PC platform.
No, I don't think that at all. I
don't agree with that. I also just because if they're not abandoning it anyway, but I think if you would see a much bigger level of, let's say, proactivism about Valve on PC VR, if they weren't also going to consider bringing Alex to other platforms, because they've just done Alex for the past 2 years now. We're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of Alex. How crazy is that? Well, and that is all they have done. That is all they have done. There is a bunch of different stuff, I'm sure, under wraps. I'm sure, on a Steam VR systems update side, they've done a whole bunch of other stuff. They've done Steam festivals. But in terms of like new content, in terms of suggestions about the future of hardware on or better curation on Steam VR, there's just nothing. So I don't think Alex coming to PS5 means anything more or less about the abandonment of VR on PC, because they've already kind of shown their level of, not commitment, but like apathy towards what happens with it in some ways, right? Yeah,
exactly. Yes, Miles Dyer, it is us in real life. How about it? I'm
You're using that foveated rendering in PSVR 2, and that's why it works so good.
also, aren't there Half-Life games on consoles anyway?
Yeah, Half-Life 1 is on PS2, and then Half-Life 2 is on Xbox 360, and PS3.
Yeah.
And then... Yeah, and so that's a good point. And Portal came everywhere as well. And Valve, has a philosophy of not being we're exclusive, which is why in the face of Epic getting a bunch of timed exclusives, they've suffered a little.
Exactly, Orange Box.
Yeah, Orange Box was on console. That was a big thing for it. So I think Valve is very platform agnostic in all the various ways that you can be. And yeah, I don't have any doubt personally that it's going to happen. Well, I have 25% doubt, which is a fair bit of doubt, but because I put 75%.
Oh yeah.
The only reason I don't think it would happen is if forces didn't get in the room together, not to just at least talk about it. But I struggle to see that being a possibility.
Chris says, "Love it when Jamie gets all sour."
You hear me, Valve?
I'm gonna say Astrobot.
Clean up
2.
your act.
Astrobot VR 2.
Well, so I would love Astrobot VR 2, but isn't it the case that Astrobot 1 was just such a big deal for PS5 that PSVR is too small for them now? No. It's
all about new hardware. It's a showcase.
So you think like another campaign launch title?
I think they're going to showcase the
that's a good idea.
The Sense controllers for that's new hardware.
That's a very good
new
idea.
hardware is the frickin' come on. There's going to be air. There's going to be like rumbles in your face. He's going to come and like shake your head.
I hope there's going to be air, otherwise no one's going to buy that thing.
They have to showcase that stuff. There's too much cool stuff being added with PSVR 2. There has to be.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's going to be some sort of free packing, isn't there? And there's a good chance that's around Astro. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah.
All right.
Shake your dome piece.
Put it up there. Where do you want to go?
100.
Oh,
sorry. Oh my! I should put a lid on my pen.
And your mouth.
Astro.
What? You put it right at the top.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
He's defo coming.
This is good.
Full bubbles in your face.
This is good.
Whatever that means.
I like this.
Like this? Yeah.
I'm going to throw another one out there for you. Iron Man 2.
Nah.
No.
I don't think it did as well as what they wanted. But it was done so bloody well. But that doesn't mean that there would be scope for another one.
You're probably right. But because it didn't get a great critical reception. I think me and a few others are some of the only people banging the drum for that game, and I will bang the drum for that game because that sounded weird, because I really, really enjoy Iron Man VR, and I hope to God we get a sequel.
What has Camouflage been up to?
So Camouflage are bringing what's their first game? Republic is coming to PlayStation VR, which is an announced thing, I'm pretty sure, and I think Steam as well. So they've been doing that port at the very least. I don't know what else is going on. I did ask them about sequel at some point, and they said, we'd love to, but in a roundabout way, they said, yeah, it has to hit certain sales targets. James Moore says Skyrim, which I think put that at 1,000%. There's no chance Skyrim doesn't come out. It's a new platform that you can interact with things on. Skyrim's coming to it.
So I'm gonna put Iron Man.
Put it low.
5%.
5? No, come on. 35. 36%.
I'll run it up like this. Iron Man 2. That's taken up too much space now.
Okay, chat. I want you to throw more suggestions at us. Flapjack says Moss. Moss is not an announced thing, but there's a high chance that's coming, right? Like it's already a timed exclusive for PlayStation VR, or at least it's only announced for PlayStation VR right now. Why wouldn't it also come to PSVR 2? I think anything that comes to PSVR in a big way this year, likely to come to PSVR 2. So that includes Zenith. That includes After the Fall. That includes... You don't have to write all of those.
Okay. Moss is up there.
Moss and Astro crossover game. That's what I want.
No.
Chris Richardson says SpiderMan. I don't think there's going to be a. Everyone keeps saying Spider-Man.
I was going to say
don't think
Spider-Man.
there's going to be a Spider-Man game.
There has to be like, it's probably going to be more. Okay, so going back to what has been said about PSVR 2 and the content, where PlayStation, well, Sony's trying to push for AAA games to have, you know, a little bit of VR in there. You know, these are all pretty much dedicated, we're saying.
Yeah.
So in terms of like AAA games, I think Spider-Man could have like a, I don't know, 30-minute experience.
Well, I mean, there are those two movie experiences from Homecoming and Far From Home, right? Which are both very, very good.
But a Miles Morales sort of
I just think it's so much. It's so hard to try and invest the kind of resources you need to do a full-fledged Spider-Man game in VR. You can't just take the New York City that they're obviously going to use for Spider-Man 2 again and just put it there. Because there's so much performance demand, and you're going to need to rescale and make sure that things in every corner of the world make sense in VR. I get, like you said, like a half an hour experience. I could see like a 5-hour story campaign that doesn't take place in New York, maybe. And we all really like web swinging. We think it's fun, but it's not quite there. It's very finicky, very hard to do. And at the end of the day, the sickness thing's a big deal. And there's nothing that's going to make you sicker than being Spider-Man. So I really hate to be a doubter on that one, even though it's Insomniac and they've made great VR titles in the past. And, you know, as you can tell, no one would want that more than me. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I saw Paradise DK said Returnal, which would be very, very cool. But he also said Twisted Metal because there's a...
That's just throwing that out there now, isn't it?
But there's a report that Twisted Metal is being rebooted and it's been given to Thigh Sprite, who are doing Horizon Call of the Wild. Call of the Mountain.
Mountain calls.
Anyway.
Mountain Mama!
And I think that could definitely be cool. Again, like along the lines of Gran Turismo 7 makes a lot of sense, right? I have a personal... love of Twisted Metal. I've played it since the PS1 days. Twisted Metal World Tour was a really big game for me, so I would love to see that come back in a big way. I always find it so weird. It's always touted as PlayStation's longest running franchise, but it just seems like such a niche thing. And they're going to make a TV series of it as well with Anthony Mackie, and he's like, really? I love Twisted Metal, but you're going to make a TV series out of Twisted Metal before everything else you could do. You're already going to botch an Uncharted movie, and now you're going to do Twisted Metal. All right, good luck to you.
Stormland.
Oh, did someone say Stormland?
Stormland.
Did someone say Stormland here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Silver just did. I think it could happen.
Yeah.
We've started to see games that had Rift contracts lead out. Lucky's Tale. Chronos is now on different platforms or on flat screen. I would love to see Insomniac just... Because I think it was a thing that these deals that Oculus did with developers in the early days, I think pretty much everyone got to keep the IP that they made. So I would love to see Stormland. I would love to see Edge of Nowhere. And the Unspoken.
Edge of Nowhere, yeah.
Edge of Nowhere would be huge if you could play that with the controller. I mean, obviously it's just a controller-based VR game and whatever, but I would love to jump back into that experience.
I've always thought it was one of the nicest looking VR games, especially of that era.
I guess the wider question is, and I'd be very interested to know what people think about this, is are Insomniac going to make VR games? Because it makes a whole ton of sense, but they're already making Spider-Man, Wolverine, and just did
Miles Jesus, forgot about Wolverine.
Well, exactly,
Wolverine.
So that's 2 huge games, and if you're going to do a VR game, surely you're just breaking off a smaller team to do something relatively small, right?
Yeah. I feel like we're going off track a little bit.
No, it's called PSVR 2 Hopes. It's a very...
I just want to... The last section of of games on the list that we published are cross-gen games before we keep going and going and going. Hitman 3, No Man's Sky, The Persistence, and Kona. I
think Kona is the only one of those I would not expect. Kona, if you don't know, is like a walking simulator indie game, which is very cool. It's set in northern Canada, snowy surroundings, and you're like a private investigator, and you're like in this abandoned town figuring out what's gone on with it. And it came to PS4, and then randomly the other week it got a PS5 version. So there's a chance that happens. I don't have a lot of faith in that. But certainly I expect Hitman 3 and No Man's Sky, and the persistence being that they, Fire Sprite is now owned by Sony. And that's, again, just a very quick, easy win. I guess some of that relates, again, to the idea of will you be able to just play the persistence with a DualSense controller and not the normal sense. Just realised they're called the PlayStation Sense controllers, even though there's two of them, and they're not the ones called DualSense.
DualSense, yeah. Weird. Yeah. So that, I mean, obviously we listed a bunch more games on there, but those are the games on the list. We kind of have a good idea of what the landscape of PSVR 2 is going to start to look like.
I keep noisy chairs.
Stop it.
They're noisy.
What are your other hopes and dreams? So another story came out this week, was it today? About the top selling games for 2021.
That's a good point.
No new games breached the list, just the same as Steam VR.
Yeah, I definitely want to see that switch up, because I mean, again, there's a good chance there's ports of Beat Saber and Super Hot and Job Simulator, and it would be such a shame to see those three games dominate the sales for another 10 years.
Yeah.
But to UVMon's point, let's hope for backwards compatibility. That would be huge. I know it's a very, very tricky concept when you're gonna there's 2 sticks, there's triggers. There must be a grip button, and then there's 2 face buttons. So there's significantly less buttons on the Sense controllers than there are the Move controllers, and transplanting all of that is going to be very, very tough.
Yeah.
I see Alvo VR is in the chat. Alvo guys, are you here to announce PSVR 2? Is that what you're here for? Welcome, by the way. Good to see you. Definitely would like to see Alvo on PSVR 2 for some Counter-Strike shooting.
Yeah, I just want to see everyone on PSVR 2,
Well, that's the thing at the end of the day.
Well, not everyone. Don't bring
I would
shovelware.
So you know how Sony's into their upgrade program of Uncharted's coming to PS5 next month and whatever, like Uncharted 4 is, and then Ghost of Tsushima already came over and everything like that. And they're probably going to end up doing that with PSVR, right? Like, you'll probably get, if we don't get Iron Man VR 2, I would be surprised if we didn't get an upgraded version of Iron Man 1 that actually loaded.
Oh, Lord, yes.
In less than a minute, so you would actually be playing, not just watching a loading screen.
Yeah.
I would really, really like to see that, but I would also really like to see Sony go back and say, okay, well, the thing we did 10 years ago was take PS2 games and put them into HD, or take PS3 games and update them for PS4. I would so want them to look at their back catalogue and say, what can we put in VR? I want the Resistance trilogy and I want the Killzone trilogy really, really badly. And massive action game. That's not happening.
Shout out to Miles Dye. Thank you so much for becoming a member. We really appreciate it. Welcome to the family, sir.
But to Opsar's point, yeah, it's what they've been doing with those updates is very tricky, and I wish they wouldn't charge people, but that's the way they're doing it, and they probably do that for VR too. Diogo says, Last Noughts, I absolutely want to see Last Noughts on PSVR 2. Just because I think that game
give it a new lease of life.
Well,
right?
I think that game deserves a second life. I wish people were talking about it. I don't jump into it often myself, but I'm not a huge multiplayer gamer. But of multiplayer shooters in VR, that's easily my personal favorite, I think.
In terms of bringing current gen stuff to PSVR 2, coming away from games, the aim controller.
Yep. Do you know what? I feel like all you need to do there is have like a plastic clip that you could snap into, right?
Yeah.
It's
well, I suppose so, but we've seen so many bits of hardware, and this is completely my opinion. They all look so crappy and they feel crappy, and I don't like them whatsoever. I liked the kind of bulbousness.
Dedicated thing, yeah.
It was gorgeous. It wasn't this clunky thing with hinges and I hate that. I hate all of those.
But if you're Sony making it yourself, you can do a thing that would be $20 to $30, and you can have like a little button in the middle to like change how long it would be and everything. If it just clips onto one handle here and one handle here, that's still going to be a good experience holding it like that. I think that's the way they should go with that. I would even, like, if you could sort that out and it was easy enough to produce, how cool would it be to put that in the box?
Yeah.
And just be like, oh, here you go, and try that with Astro, or here's a Farpoint demo for PSVR2 or something like that.
Yeah.
That could be a huge win, because that's just a piece of plastic.
Yeah.
Just a piece of plastic.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing I really want to see is a much more intuitive native UI for PS5. Not just trying to navigate. I can't believe you still have to do this in 2022. Trying to navigate the PS5 with the Move controllers is just unacceptably bad. And I want to put on a headset, and I want to be in a room.
Put your crazy eyes on.
I want to be in a room where like I can have like posters of my favorite retro games. I can, like, if I want to, I can play a PS2 game on a CRT or something like that. How cool would that be?
Yeah.
There's so much potential.
Yeah. Almost too much potential.
Yeah, I mean, I could speak about this for another hour, but maybe we should.
Miles Dye says Supermassive Games made one of the best PSVR titles, Rush of Blood. I actually loved that.
Yeah.
I genuinely loved that a lot.
They made a great Google Daydream exclusive as well that released just at the end of when Google was putting any kind of funding whatsoever into Daydream. Cool. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a multiple choice thing. Again, it was very much in the style of Until Dawn, but first person. And it was like an agency based like terrorist hunt kind of thing. Like an episode of 24 essentially, and that was really cool. I'd love to see them do some more stuff with that. There's just, I think one thing, the thing I was basically going to sum it up as is, I kind of want to see PSVR 2 replace Steam VR as the destination of where you go for games of a certain caliber.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything should happen to Steam VR, but I'm just saying, all the people out there right now that are like, oh man, I wish there was more content on Steam VR. I kind of hope we all just gravitate towards the PSVR 2 ecosystem, and that kind of helps it in the kind of like notoriety and fight against Quest, right?
Paradise DK, we see ya. Firewall 2. Don't apologize.
Firewall 2 would be great, but Alvo's right here saying the ports from PSVR 1 and 2 should be very simple, especially for games that already had a control scheme for PC VR Quest. That's very true. That's very true. If you're on PSVR, but I guess if you're porting, yes. If it's a backwards compatibility case, it's very hard to just assign all those move functions elsewhere on that controller.
What's up, Adam? How you doing, my boy? How are ya? Yeah. So, one more thing.
Yeah, do it. Hit me.
Release date. When do you want it? You said that, we have said on UploadVR.
I mean, I want it tomorrow, but that's not going to happen.
They're keeping very tight-lipped on whether or not it's going to come this year.
I feel like I hope it will, because I was convinced PS5 would be delayed, because it just, with what was going on with the pandemic at the time and what was going on with chip production, it just seemed like a no-brainer that both Microsoft and Sony were going to concede like 6 months and like do spring of 2021. And I just didn't, I was amazed that didn't happen. And I think it's because they both, stuck their ground and neither one caved first. And I think if one had gone, the other would go too. And I also think I was reading today that, the Xbox Series S and X have sold 1 million in the UK now. And Microsoft's had a lot of success simply because they've been able to produce the S, because it's just that level of like that couple of steps down, not less components, but less expensive components and everything.
I've seen many pictures of I don't know, just shops that people going in, they're like, we're looking for a PS5, but then they have got tons and tons of like shelves just filled with Xboxes. Yeah,
exactly. And so I feel like they would have delayed if they hadn't had the S, but they were confident because of the S, which meant Sony couldn't delay because they weren't going to give them a 6 months head start.
Yeah.
They just delayed Halo instead.
So going over to chat, people are saying March, please. Probably holiday. Hope for summer 2022.
If it happens this year, it's going to be holiday. I don't think you can get the marketing campaign you need behind it right now and launch it you can't do it in late spring. Like you're going to want to do the PlayStation showcase from last year that was in September. You're going to want to do one of those for PSVR.
It's probably pre-orders this year. How about that?
Maybe. But I also just mean like you're going to do a couple of those state of plays where they announce kind of more indie-ish and update on announced games things. You'll see some things there, I reckon. But I don't think this thing gets released without a significant showcase ahead of time that is like, tune in 2 days from now to see what we've been working on for the future of VR, and that's the thing that opens with Gran Turismo 7, ends with Alex.
Oh my god.
Yeah. If they do that, people that's how like it's Sony's game to lose, because even people that I know that aren't sold on VR at all, if you told them Resident Evil, Gran Turismo, Hitman 3, everything like that, so many more people I know would like run out to buy one that already have a PS5.
People literally bought the PSVR one for Resi 7.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 1 million people have played that in VR now.
I mean, people have bought the Quest 2 for Resi 4, which
exactly,
you
know. and again, to give it context, there's been a lot of debate about this the last couple of weeks. I still don't think PSVR 2 has a hope in hell of outselling PSVR 2. I don't think Quest 2. I don't think Sony expects it to. I don't think Sony especially cares that much. I think Sony thinks we're going to do well with this peripheral for this console.
Cool. Any further hopes or dreams? Or dreams?
Crash Bandicoot VR.
Crash Bandicoot VR, there we go.
But you don't hold forward on the stick. You have to swing your arms like Crash. And then throw yourself around in a spin to attack.
Cool. That's pretty much it, but I've got one last thing.
Oh, I've forgotten about this.
Oh, it kind of came over me really horribly just then.
Do it.
Guys, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to be leaving. Next week is my last VR Gamescast.
UploadVR, we should say, yeah. You're leaving UploadVR.
I'm leaving. Goodbye. Yeah, I'm leaving UploadVR. Very sad. Quite upsetting.
Here we go. Here comes the chat.
I know. I'm going to be staying in VR. You'll see me around. Not here.
Can't say where you're going yet, though.
I can't see where I'm going, no. But I'll share that once I have joined that place. I was going to say said place, but not said place.
Well,
I can say that I am not joining Meta. I don't think
certainly
I would be
joining.
Welcome after everything.
Wait, who's David?
Said.
I've never heard of it. David. That's weird. What's your name? I can't remember.
It's going to be awkward, isn't it?
Oh no, you're fading from memory already. Sorry guys, I'm still here.
So this is the weird thing about my VR career. When I first joined VR in 2016, that's where Jamie and I met, and we both worked at a UK-based VR website. I went away and did other stuff, and then I came back and worked with Jamie yet again. So who knows how it's gonna kind of go?
Yeah, I might leave too.
Oh my god!
No, you're not getting.
You might join me next time.
You're not getting rid of me that easily. I'm still here. We're gonna be having all sorts of fun. But
yeah.
But yeah. So you've got next week. You're gonna be here next week. Next week's the last one. So we'll do some fun for that.
Pop some prosecco. Daniel, thank you so much for the £2. Yet another traitor. I take that back. How dare you? Thank you very much. Yeah. But
yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it then. I think everyone.
Oh, it's sad, isn't it?
I think everyone here knows and loves you and knows what you bring to the podcast and how great it's just been doing this with you. But we can.
Yeah.
We can talk about this next. Oh, okay. We can talk about it now.
Well, no, I was gonna say I love my job, but it's actually the Gamescast that makes it really real that I'm leaving.
What, you mean when we do it in VR?
The unreal part of my job is very real.
Yeah.
Oh, my unique voice where I just slate everything.
You will also still be in this flat.
Oh,
So
literally, we live
whenever
together.
I'm doing the podcast in the future, you will be in earshot of everyone.
Yeah, but
so
professionally,
take
we are
that
very
with you
separate.
in your heart. Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been a blast. But yeah, we'll talk about that more next week. I'm still going to be here for until the 24th. Yeah. So, yeah, lap it up. Enjoy me while you can, because I'm out of here. But yeah, that is all. That is not a story that you can read at UploadVR. Maybe later. I don't know. Everything else.
You can probably tweet it now. I would imagine you should tweet it.
Yeah, I'll tweet it now. Yeah, you probably will hear me being obnoxious in some way or another.
Yeah, there's a very good chance of that.
But every story that we have mentioned or rumors or whatever, you can read about it over at uploadvr.com. Subscribe. Also, go over to Twitter. We are so close to being 100,000 up.
Yeah, we might be there now. Let me find out.
Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
What an amazing way to end a podcast if we are.
Yeah, thank you everyone. I really appreciate your well wishes. I'll miss you guys too very much.
Sorry.
Here we go. He's gonna see if UploadVR has reached 100,000 followers on Twitter.
No. We have. Can you find out on? We have 99.9.
99.9. We're getting there. It was
99.9.
99.935 before we came on. Anyway, we're gonna end the podcast there. We'll see you next week. The last time I'm gonna say that. See you guys next week.
I'll bring my burial trumpet.
Yeah. Lovely.
That looks pretty convincing on that, doesn't it?
Yes, it looks convincing.
Cool.
Anyway, we'll see you guys next week. Take care. Have a lovely weekend. And goodbye.
Bye, gang.